The San Francisco 49ers cannot afford to make mistakes at this critical juncture. Their decisions in the upcoming NFL draft will play a pivotal role in shaping the team's future, and it's essential that they make the right choices. As we dive into the latest updates and insights surrounding the 49ers draft strategy, we'll explore their most pressing needs, including potential alternatives they should consider for future selections. With so much on the line, it's crucial to stay informed and engaged with the developments leading up to the draft. Recently, a respected analyst was asked about the biggest needs for each NFL team following the offseason moves. And when it came to the 49ers, the consensus was clear. The defensive line, specifically the defensive tackle position, is one of the team's most urgent needs heading into the 2025 season. While the 49ers have a star in Nick Bosa on the edge, there's a significant hole to fill in the middle of their defense, especially after losing 3 of their 4 starting defensive linemen in free agency. The team has options, but the gap left by these departures is glaring, and it's something the 49ers must address immediately in the draft. The current defensive line depth chart for the 49ers includes Jordan Elliott and Kevin Givens as the main defensive tackles, but both players are unproven as long-term solutions. For the 49ers to compete at the highest level, they need to find a strong, reliable presence on the interior of their defensive line. This draft class is rich in talent at the defensive tackle position, with several promising prospects who could come in and make an immediate impact. The team needs to prioritize landing a tackle who could be both agile enough to disrupt passing plays and strong enough to stop the run, especially given the 49ers' division rivals who excel in the running game. An analyst with deep knowledge of the 49ers roster recently commented that the team should not only focus on adding a defensive tackle, but should prioritize a player who is quick and athletic enough to hold his own against double teams. These traits are essential, particularly when considering the challenges the 49ers will face against high-powered offenses that rely on strong offensive lines and quick, elusive running backs. There's a real need for a defensive tackle who can penetrate the offensive line, disrupt plays in the backfield, and ultimately provide the 49ers with the ability to control the line of scrimmage. But there's a twist. This same analyst argued that, while a defensive tackle is clearly a major priority, the team should not automatically assume that the first-round pick should be used on this position. In fact, he suggested that the 49ers could afford to wait on a defensive tackle and look elsewhere in the first round for a player who might provide a more immediate impact. And this raises an important question. Should the 49ers stay focused on drafting a defensive tackle early, or is it more beneficial to explore other positions that could better serve the team's long-term needs? When we look at the 49ers draft strategy, we have to consider the reality that, at pick number 11, the team will be in a prime position to land some of the best talent available. In most drafts, the first round is typically about taking the best player available, and the 49ers will need to weigh whether that player is a defensive tackle, a defensive end, or someone else entirely. It's a difficult decision, and one that could ultimately define the team's future. Interestingly, recent reports have suggested that the 49ers have been doing their due diligence and having virtual pre-draft meetings with several prospects, including a defensive end from SMU who is expected to be available later in the draft. This player may not be selected early, but his potential could make him an intriguing option for the 49ers, particularly if they decide to address other positions earlier in the draft. These types of meetings with prospects, especially those who may not be top-tier first-round picks, highlight the 49ers' approach to drafting. They're looking for value, depth, and long-term solutions, not just immediate fixes. It's becoming clear that the 49ers are exploring all avenues when it comes to adding talent to their defensive line. While many fans and analysts expect the team to draft a defensive tackle early, the 49ers' decision-makers may be considering other factors that could influence their final choice. Perhaps they'll target an edge rusher or look for a player who can help both in the run defense and as a pass rusher. The draft is always full of surprises, and the 49ers have the chance to make a bold move that could reshape their defense for years to come. Now, let's talk about one of the most intriguing prospects the 49ers have reportedly taken an interest in, a defensive end from SMU. This player might not be the most athletic prospect in the draft, but he brings something to the table that could make him a perfect fit for the 49ers' defensive scheme. Standing at 6'4" and weighing 285 pounds, he has the size and strength to make a difference in both the pass rush and run defense. Over the course of his college career, he accumulated 131 pressures, 21 sacks, and 18 quarterback hits. Impressive numbers that indicate he has the ability to get after the quarterback and disrupt the pocket. What's particularly interesting about this player is his versatility. While he primarily played on the edge during his college career, his size and skill set suggest that he could also transition to the inside, possibly as a defensive tackle in a 3-4 defensive scheme. This hybrid ability is something the 49ers highly value, as they have historically sought players who can move between positions and create mismatches along the line of scrimmage. His combination of size, strength, and pass rushing ability makes him an intriguing option for the 49ers, especially if they decide to wait on a defensive tackle and instead go for an edge rusher in the first round. However, there are some concerns about his ability to excel as a full-time edge player. His quickness and explosiveness may not match up with some of the top edge rushers in the draft, which could limit his effectiveness in certain situations. Nevertheless, his versatility, being able to play both on the edge and as a defensive tackle, makes him a valuable prospect and one that the 49ers could take a closer look at in the later rounds. The 49ers will likely need to make a decision soon about which positions they will prioritize in the draft. While defensive tackle and edge rusher are both pressing needs, it's possible that the team could find value in a player who can contribute in multiple areas. The team's front office has shown a willingness to look beyond the first round for talent, and if they do end up drafting a defensive tackle in the second or third round, this could help them shore up their defensive line without using their first pick on that position. Looking ahead, the 49ers need to strike the right balance between drafting for immediate needs and looking to the future. A defensive tackle or an edge rusher could be exactly what the team needs to stay competitive in a tough NFC West, but the decision will depend on who is available when the 49ers are on the clock. One thing is for certain. With so many talented players in this draft class, the 49ers will have plenty of options to choose from. As we continue to analyze the 49ers' draft strategy, it's important to recognize the complexity of the situation. The team's front office faces a tough challenge when it comes to making the right choices, particularly when balancing the need for immediate help with long-term success. With a solid core in place, such as the defensive line star Nick Bosa, the 49ers must carefully address their gaps without compromising the foundation of the team. The questions surrounding their draft selections are multifaceted, and there's no clear-cut answer as to whether they should prioritize a defensive tackle or an edge rusher early on. The 49ers are in a fortunate position, having a relatively strong roster already. However, as any NFL team knows, even the best teams can improve, and it's the smart draft choices that often separate the contenders from the pretenders. That's why the 49ers must be careful not to make a rash decision at pick number 11. While defensive tackle is certainly a glaring need, particularly after losing 3 starters in the offseason, the team cannot afford to lock themselves into filling that position at the expense of a potentially game-changing edge rusher or another top talent. The draft is full of surprises, and sometimes the best move is to stay flexible and open to opportunities that arise. One of the big questions that continues to hover over the 49ers draft plans is whether they'll go with a defensive tackle in the first round or take a risk and pick a player at another position. If they choose to address the defensive tackle position early, they will likely be looking for someone who can provide both strength and agility to disrupt the offensive line. The ideal candidate would be a player who can eat up space and clog running lanes, but also one who can put pressure on the quarterback and be disruptive in passing situations. This type of player is invaluable in today's NFL, where offenses are constantly looking for ways to protect their quarterbacks and establish the run game. The question then becomes, should the 49ers use their first-round pick on a defensive tackle who might not be quite as polished as other prospects, or should they target an edge rusher who can step in immediately and make an impact on the outside? The team's defensive scheme has historically thrived when it has had elite edge rushers capable of collapsing the pocket and forcing quarterbacks into difficult situations. With Boza anchoring one side, adding another dynamic player on the edge could make the 49ers defense one of the most fearsome in the league. However, the situation is made even more complex by the fact that the 49ers draft position at number 11 could provide them with a unique opportunity to land a highly coveted player. The team's draft board will likely be filled with players who could help in various areas, from defensive line to secondary and beyond. The 49ers may find themselves in a position where they have to decide between taking a risk on a player they believe could develop into a star or going with a more immediate solution in a position like defensive tackle. This balance between short-term needs and long-term development is something that every team faces in the draft, but it's particularly important for a team like the 49ers, who are already close to championship contention. If the 49ers opt to pass on a defensive tackle in favor of another position, there are still plenty of options available. For instance, they could look at adding depth in the secondary, where they have been solid, but could use some fresh talent to bolster their cornerbacks and safeties. Alternatively, the team could continue to build on their offensive line, which, while strong, could benefit from further depth and competition at certain positions. The depth of this draft class makes it possible for the 49ers to address multiple needs while still finding value later in the selection process. A particularly interesting area to consider is the possibility of drafting a defensive player in the second or third round who could step in immediately as a starter or rotational player. There are several intriguing defensive tackles and edge rushers who could provide the team with immediate help while also offering upside for future development. These players might not have the immediate star potential of someone picked in the first round, but they could still be valuable contributors, especially if the 49ers are able to develop them over time. Another factor to consider is how the team evaluates the depth at various positions. In recent years, the 49ers have shown a willingness to take risks on players they believe have high potential, even if they aren't as highly regarded by the mainstream scouting community. This approach has paid off in the past, with several late-round picks becoming key contributors on the team. Given the depth of talent available in this draft class, it's very likely that the 49ers could find a diamond in the rough in later rounds who could eventually become a starter or a key rotational piece. Looking ahead, the 49ers will have to make a decision about whether they want to focus on filling a specific need or take the best player available, regardless of position. If they go with the best player available, there's a good chance that they will land a player who can make an immediate impact on the field, whether it's a defensive tackle, edge rusher, or another position entirely. However, if they focus too heavily on one area of need, they risk passing on a player who could be a long-term solution for a different position, one that could prove just as valuable as a defensive tackle. Ultimately, the 49ers are in a great position heading into the draft. They have a solid foundation and don't need to panic about filling every hole immediately. Instead, the team can take a measured approach, focusing on players who will fit into their system and contribute to their long-term success. Whether they choose to go with a defensive tackle, edge rusher, or another position, the key will be finding players who can make an immediate impact while also developing into key contributors in the future. This draft presents the 49ers with a unique opportunity to continue building on their strengths and addressing their weaknesses. The team is already one of the most talented in the league, but with the right draft selections, they could take their roster to the next level. Whether they address the defensive line early or opt for a more balanced approach, the 49ers must stay true to their vision for the future. The next few weeks will be crucial in determining the team's direction, and the excitement surrounding the draft is palpable. Fans are eager to see how the 49ers will make their selections and how those picks will shape the team's success in the years to come. As the draft approaches, the 49ers management will undoubtedly continue to evaluate their options and refine their strategy. Every pick counts, and the pressure to get it right has never been higher. But with a strong scouting department, a clear vision, and a solid roster to build upon, the 49ers are in a position to make the right calls and keep their championship window wide open. The coming weeks will be filled with anticipation, but one thing is for sure. The 49ers are poised to make some bold moves that could pay off in a big way. Whether they land a star defensive tackle, edge rusher, or another key player, the 49ers are ready to continue their pursuit of greatness. But before we dive in, don't forget to subscribe to 49ers Zone and hit the like button on this video. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest updates on the San Francisco 49ers. And don't forget to share your thoughts on the news in the comments below. Imagine a future where Puka Nacua, the electrifying wide receiver who made waves with the Los Angeles Rams, becomes a key player for the San Francisco 49ers. It's a thought that's been gaining traction, particularly after his remarkable rookie season and the unforgettable matchups with the 49ers last year. Could this talented, dynamic athlete be the missing piece in the Niners' already potent offense? The potential for Nacua to join the 49ers has fans buzzing with anticipation, and a closer look at his career reveals just why this move would make perfect sense. Nacua's 2023 rookie season was nothing short of extraordinary. After transferring from Washington to BYU, he was drafted by the Rams in the 5th round, and he quickly proved he was more than a late-round pick. With record-breaking performances, including setting rookie records for receiving yards and receptions, Nacua was named to the Pro Bowl and earned a spot as a second-team All-Pro. His explosive playmaking ability was on full display, and it's clear he's a force to be reckoned with. But what does this mean for the 49ers? With his incredible ability to stretch the field and make game-changing catches, Nacua could complement the 49ers' offense in ways fans are only starting to dream about. However, Nacua's 2024 season got off to a rough start. An injury in training camp left him sidelined with a burst versus sack in his knee, delaying his return to action. When he finally made it back on the field, Nacua faced more setbacks, including a PCL sprain that landed him on injured reserve. Despite these challenges, his return was marked by a strong performance against the Minnesota Vikings, where he registered over 100 receiving yards. His resilience and determination to get back to peak performance could be a key asset to any team looking to add depth and talent to their roster, especially the 49ers, who value versatility and determination. Nacua's performance against the 49ers last season also left a lasting impression. In a gritty, rain-soaked game at Levi's Stadium, Nacua caught 7 passes for 97 yards, including a stunning play against cornerback Charvarius Ward that immediately became the talk of the NFL. The comparison to David Tyree's iconic Super Bowl catch was inevitable, and it's easy to see why fans and analysts alike have started to imagine Nacua in a 49ers uniform. With the 49ers known for their strategic offense, adding a player of Nacua's caliber could elevate their already dangerous passing game to new heights. As the 49ers continue to build their roster for future success, the idea of adding a proven playmaker like Puka Nacua is one that's hard to ignore. With a fresh start after overcoming his injury woes, Nacua could offer the 49ers the explosive playmaking ability they need. Whether it's stretching the field with long receptions or contributing in a versatile offensive role, Nacua's potential fit in San Francisco is undeniable. For 49ers fans, this is a story worth watching closely as the future of the team unfolds. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to keep receiving exclusive news about the San Francisco 49ers, make sure to subscribe to 49ers Zone and give this video a like. We always look forward to hearing your comments and opinions. See you in the next video.